Hello, it is 2023 and you're watching Lowcountry Money Talk. I am so glad because Phil Bloyd is back to see us with Revolutionary Financial Group with lots to cover. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Jessa?
I'm good. It's a new year, so I'm excited to talk a little bit about what's going on, okay? Changes.
Yeah, changes.
New year?
Sure,
new
year,
things to
new
talk
changes,
about.
Right?
So let's start with that. Let's talk about the omnibus bill and really for our viewers, what does that mean for them, for those who are retired? What are the changes that are coming?
It means that we just spent another $1.7 trillion that we don't have.
Okay. Happy New Year.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I hate that stuff. It's just a bunch of things jammed in there at the last minute. Nobody reads it. You know, we'll understand the effects as we go through it. But for our retirees, if you're already retired, you're closing in on minimum distribution, there has been a change again. To the age. So a few years back in ancient history now, you may remember when you turned 70 and a half, the year that you turned, we had to do the minimum distribution out of our IRA, right?
Yes, yes.
Then they changed it to 72.
Yeah, moving it a little bit.
Now it's 73.
Okay, so we're inching higher. It
tick,
seems
top,
like.
Tick.
Yes. How do we keep up with these changes, though?
It's so many changes. You know, for years we never changed that. We were on 70 and a half for so long. You know, then we moved to the 72. Didn't really stay there long at all. Then we had COVID, so then they said you don't have to take anything out of your accounts. And now it's 73, and over the next 10 years, they're going to get it supposedly to 75.
75, hey.
So you almost have to check Jessa every year.
It seems like it, because you really, you need to know what's going on. And obviously, there's penalties for missing the mark. So let's talk a little bit about that.
That's changed too.
That's changed, of course, yeah.
So it used to be if we missed our required minimum distribution from our IRA account, the penalty would be 50%. So if I was supposed to take 10,000 and I missed it, the penalty would be 5,000.
That hurts.
Now it's 25%.
Okay,
less painful. So that'd be 2,500.
Less painful. Still hurts.
I'll do the tough math here.
Yeah.
But then they put in something that, well, as long as you catch it and report it within 2 years, it's 10% or this or that or whatever. But
okay.
You know, just don't miss it.
Just don't miss it.
Yeah.
That's really, because you don't want to be penalized for any reason. Yeah. So, okay, well, a lot of changes, obviously. Any suggestions for retirees right now other than the obvious of don't miss it?
Yeah. Well, we don't want to miss it, and the rules keep changing, so you want to make sure that you talk to your advisors to keep up with the current rules year by year now and don't take it for granted. Right. If we were taking our distribution, if we were 72 and we didn't take our full distribution last year and we were going to have it all out by April 1st of this year, you still have to continue through with that, okay? So you can't say, well, now, hey, I'm 73, I don't, you know, you still need to finish off if you started.
Yeah, okay, so if you've kind of fell in that area where the changes occurred, you can't just say, okay, well now I get to wait until I'm 73. You've already started, you gotta finish it up.
Gotta finish it up. Gotta finish your work.
Gotta finish your work.
Now also, if you're still saving and you're getting close to retirement, they have changed the amount, the catch-up provisions on how much you can put in these deferred plans. I would say check with your tax professional, because they're changing so much, and over time you want to make sure that you have the right numbers for the right time.
Okay. Man, there's a lot to keep track of. I'm glad we have you here, Phil, because boy, it makes my head spin. And then you think you get it down, and then it changes.
And then it changes. So
that's the thing.
Over these next few years, Jess, it's going to be very important that you stay abreast of the changes, that you check in with your advisors, because things are going to be changing.
Absolutely. Okay, well, what do you think we should do now, you know, if we're ready to really take a look at this stuff?
I think if you're listening now, you don't have an income strategy, first of all, I'm going to invite you to call my team so we can help create a budget, uncover the main risks that are posing a threat during retirement. Learn about your options for generating income in your retirement. Your retirement could be as long or longer than you were actually working. So you may need to position assets for a long term.
Okay, so it's a good time really to call and make sure you do have a strategy. Take advantage of Phil's offer. Go ahead and call the office, talk to Rachel, and you get a complimentary revolutionary income analysis.
Right.
Why not, right?
Very important.
We got more for you coming up after the break. Phil, you'll stick with us.
Yes.
We hope you do too. We'll be right back. We're back on the other side of the break. Lowcountry Money Talk is coming at you with some great information for you to know for the new year.
Yes.
Whether it's good news or not, it's good information, right?
You need to be informed.
You need to be informed, and that's why we have the expert here. Phil Bloyd is joining us with Revolutionary Financial Group again. So, boy, it's so important to talk to you right now because there's so much happening, and I know our viewers, especially our retirees, are concerned.
Yeah.
We're dealing with inflation, already a big problem, right? Of course, there's a lot of volatility that we've been working through and talking through on the show, and looming tax increases.
Yes.
So it's getting people worried, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on, it feels like forever.
Does, yeah. So what our blood pressure is already high. We're wondering, you know, of course, as we get closer to retirement, and certainly if we're in retirement, do we have enough money saved to get us through?
Sure, I get that a lot, Jessa. So, you know, one of the biggest fears that retirees have, do I have enough money to last?
Yes, that's like maybe the biggest fear.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now that everything costs more, right? We were talking about eggs a minute ago.
We
right?
were.
That seems to have gotten worse.
Yes.
So was it $5 or $6 for a dozen eggs?
I had to quit eggs. I just gave them up.
Sure. Well, that's an alternative, right?
That's right.
There's other things, but they cost more too.
Yeah, that's true.
So in the current consumer price index, it came out at inflation year over year at 6.5%. That means 6.5% more today than it was a year ago.
Right. So that's not, wherever we feel like the starting point is. This is just
it's on
2
top
LY,
of it,
right?
right?
Yeah.
So, and people say, oh, well, it's coming down because it was 7.1 or whatever it was, or 8 at 1.9. Yeah, but see, the problem is the way they figure it, though.
Yeah.
So we know that gas prices are down a little bit now, okay? And they're down because China, of over 1 billion people, has been shut down for about 3 years.
That makes an impact.
So now they're coming back online. They're going to need 3 million barrels of oil a day.
A day.
That we weren't using. So supply and demand, we spoke about that during the break. So right now we're in the winter, slow driving. So as we go into spring and summer, I would expect, those oil prices, gas prices to go back up because of China's demand. And, big thing on the CPI going from 7 to 6.5 was because gas prices went down. Food prices, however, went up.
Went up, yeah.
So the things we were spending money on every day are more expensive than they were. So you really can't pay a lot of attention to 6.5. You have to pay attention to your wallet.
Right. Well, and for a lot of retirees, at least that I know, they don't spend really all that much time driving around. So
True.
if you've got groceries going up, gas went down a little bit, yay, but groceries went up, and that you have to have that. That's a necessity.
If you don't eat, you will die.
That's a fact,
Pretty
right?
sure of that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's spend a minute here just talking
sure.
about how to deal with it. If you
Right.
can kind of wrap it up for us in this segment. If we are already retired, what do you suggest we do?
Well, first of all, we have to know where the problem is. So one of the largest risks to your retirement right now is still the inflation. It's still the volatile stock market. It's up today and down tomorrow. You feel good, and then down, and here we go again. So we're going to be dealing with inflation. The Federal Reserve said for years before we can get it back to the 2% level. So we need to develop in our plan inflation. We need to see where we're taking our income from, and can we adjust it? We don't want to take income from the stock market side of our portfolio at this time if we don't have to.
Right.
Now, we don't want to dig the hole even deeper.
No, not a good time for that.
So the first thing we need to do is we need to make a plan. So we want to make sure, first of all, we know how much we need a month. We want to be more efficient about where we're taking the money from. I know we're going to talk more about that a little later. But if you're listening to me right now and you don't have an income strategy, I'm going to say again, I'm going to invite you to call on my team, help you create a budget, uncover your main risks to your portfolio and to your retirement, learn about options for generating income in retirement. Your retirement could last longer than your working days, so it's very important.
Yeah, great advice. Really important time to strategize. Make sure you have a plan in place so that you can deal with these issues we're facing in retirement. So great time to take advantage of Phil's team. I know Rachel would love to talk to you if you are interested in getting a complimentary revolutionary income analysis.
Yes.
So they can make sure you've got a plan. We'll be back. How's that for a plan?
Great.
See you in a second. Lowcountry Money Talk is coming back for more, and Phil Bloyd is back for more. We're always glad when you stick around.
Hey, I'm still here. Haven't been able to get out the door yet.
No, we ask you the tough stuff, right? Especially when there's changes and it's a new year, and we've been covering some of those changes. If you're just tuning in, the important thing to know is that there are changes, and we need to keep up with that.
Right.
We're going to work through some other questions that I know our viewers are having at home, and really just talk about different types of advisors.
Sure.
Phil, obviously with the Revolutionary Financial Group, let's talk a little bit about what are differences, especially in different age groups,
Sure.
right? If you're in your 30s or 40s, how vastly different might a strategy or an advisor be for somebody who's in or nearing retirement?
Could be a lot different. You know, I've been doing this 31 years now.
That's a good bit
I
of
know
experience.
you're like, well, you're a spring chicken. You're a young guy. How you been around? Would you start at 15? Well, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm older than I look. Okay.
That'll be our next question.
Okay. So, if you have a health problem, you usually want to see a specialist, right? So at Revolutionary Financial Group, we specialize in retirees and soon-to-be retirees.
Right.
So if I'm in my 30s, if I'm in my 40s, you know, you're playing on, hey, I'm saving my money, I'm accumulating my money and all these things. If you're past that and you're closer to retirement, you're thinking about, okay, I saved all this money, now how do I get it out?
Right.
Or what do I do?
Right, yeah, so you're dealing with,
So-
you're facing distributions and different questions.
Well, then, you know, we spoke earlier about required minimum distribution. That's going to apply to someone that's 73. There's tax issues that are going to apply to seniors. There's, you know, different areas where I take my income will be taxed at different rates. Well, when I'm in my 30s and 40s, I don't care. I'm just stashing away my money for retirement.
Right.
So, unfortunately, many advisors, you're retired and they're still, you know, treating your investments like you're 30 or 40.
Exactly.
Which could be a problem because then we look at risk, we look at age, we look at threshold, how long do I have to take these funds, should I shift from a more aggressive to more moderate, you know, all these things.
Right.
So I've seen people before, Jessa, and they come in and I'm like, wow, you don't look 45. And they're like, oh.
But maybe their portfolio does. Yeah.
So that could be, especially in a volatile market. So we want to focus on the distribution more because either the folks that come to see us are already at that phase or soon to be. Yes. So it's very important. If I go to a big box firm, many of the big box firms, they're going to treat me like a number. They're going to treat me like I'm 45 and I'm 65 or 75. And you're really finding out about that now because of the volatility in the market. You're like, well, why is my account down so much?
Right.
Well, maybe it wasn't positioned right in the first place.
Well, I heard someone on the break, I thought this was a good way to look at it, think about it, is you've got somebody working you know, for a big box, it does kind of make you wonder, are they working for you or are they working for the firm?
Right. Sure.
That is a tricky question.
And I've been through that, Jessa, because I used to train and hire and, you know, do recruiting for big boxes, okay? Mm-hmm. In 2007, I started my own firm. So my only boss, I always tell people, is my wife, okay? So, you know, Big difference.
Yes,
So I
yes.
feel that I can sit down with that retiree or soon to be retiree. We can fiduciarily look at what's in their best interest. We can design a plan together. We can do it in writing. We can work through the plan. We have the 31 years of experience behind us to see that plan through to the end. So all these things we look at, and we want, if you haven't had the opportunity to have that second look from an independent and fiduciary local advisory firm, we want you to take a look at us and say, hey, what's the difference? Not all professional help's the same. We like fiduciary because it's looking out for the client and what their needs are above our own. It's something, if you haven't done, again, you need to probably take a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good time to do that. I mean, it's important to do that, but it is a good time to do that. Take advantage of what they're offering at Revolutionary Financial Group if you're watching this, because it doesn't hurt to have a second opinion, and having a local person really dive in that is independent and can tell you if your portfolio is looking, the right age, you're in the right places.
The right age, and for you. Everybody's different.
Yeah, so really important. They do a Revolutionary Wealth Review. You can get that by calling the number that you see on your screen, talking to Rachel. A great client for Revolutionary Financial Group, I know, is those of you who have investable assets of $500,000 or more. So give them a call.
Sure.
Can't hurt.
Right.
And also, don't forget to stick around. We've got one more segment for you after this break. We went to break, we came back from break, now we have buckets. This is exciting. Yeah. I can't wait. I'm going to learn some things from you. I always do. Phil Bloyd is here with us for our final segment of Lowcountry Money Talk. We talked a lot about, a lot of things really. We just spent some time talking about advisors and what's different about an independent firm like yours. We spent a whole lot of time talking about distributions today, Phil, and the changes that have come down the pipeline for 2023. Right. How you take your income in retirement and where you take it from matters, and I know that because of you. I also know that taxes can be a huge expense, and that's one of my biggest takeaways actually that I've learned from you over our time, Phil, is how important that is.
Right.
So explain what it is that you see from people when they come into your firm when it comes to distribution and taxes.
Well, Jessa, taxes can be the largest expense for retirees. So it makes sense that we have a plan to deal with that.
Yes.
Now we can, work with your local CPA, or we can, refer one, because when it comes to taxes, a lot of times they're just recording history.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we change history. So we have to change input to change what we send, the 1099s and what we give to the accountant. So we need to first understand that. And we also may need to talk to them, or maybe refer you to one of ours that understands that, the way we do Roth conversions, there's several different factors which we don't have time to get in today, and they're just looking at the numbers. Well, your age and this and that, maybe I'm like, yeah, but I'm using stocks and stock prices to affect the taxation on our Roth conversions much different than just looking at stuff on paper that doesn't change, okay?
Right.
So let's get right into the income.
Yes, yeah, this is great.
So the way you take your income is through one of these buckets, okay? So unfortunately, most of us, when we retire, we have most of our money in this bucket right here.
Okay,
now,
tax deferred.
Yeah, and when we were working, they said, well, hey, you put this money away, you'll be in a lower tax bracket at retirement, you won't need as much money. Well, unfortunately for our wealthier clients, that's not the case.
Right.
So they're going to end up paying a lot of money because they took a little bit of tax deferral. Now, when they took that out of your paycheck, they didn't say, hey, we're going to give you a tax deduction and you don't have to worry about it later. They just deferred your taxes.
Right.
Until later, and later if you're retired is now. So most of your money's here, okay?
Yep.
This is your IRA, your 401k, your 403b.
Okay.
This bucket right here, this could be your emergency funds, this could be a CD taxed at ordinary interest rate, this could be checking savings, this could be a brokerage cash account where you're paying capital gains tax,
Okay, so that's your taxable.
This is taxable kind of as we go along a bit.
Why is tax-free so small?
Because everybody likes the idea of tax-free, but they don't want to do what it takes to get to tax-free.
I see.
Okay, so it's like a lot of people, they come in and they're like, hey, I want to be the executive manager of this company. Where do I start? And I'm like, well, you need 30 years behind you. You need all of this experience and this and that. Well, we have to pay taxes on this maybe to get to this point here. So in working with our retirees at Revolutionary Financial Group, what we want is to get you from this imbalanced approach here.
And you said this is how most people come in, looking like this. Okay.
We want to get you like this. We want more in the tax-free bucket. We need to develop a plan. We don't want to do that just by chance. It takes a little work. We're still going to need our emergency fund, so we're going to have that. We'll pay capital gains tax or interest rate tax on those. And then we want to whittle down on our tax deferred. Now we still do get the standard exemption, and the tax rates, and as far as the individual rates, have kind of expanded the brackets a bit. So we'll use that to your advantage, but we want to get you to a more even approach here.
I love this. I love how you do this. You take these just complex things and, you know, all these changes and all these things that we're worried about as we're nearing and in retirement, and you just lay it out so beautifully.
It's all buckets. Now, do we want to leave this to our kids, or do we want to leave this to our kids?
I think we know the answer to that.
If it's tax-free, it's going to go to them tax-free as well. So the more planning we do now, the better off everybody's going to be.
I'm going to wrap our show, Phil, by saying if you're watching this right now and you either don't know what your picture looks like or you think it might look more like the red buckets there, this is a great time to let Phil and his team take a look at your portfolio. They're going to do a revolutionary wealth review, and that is a complimentary experience, really, where they're going to deep dive and tell you how you're looking. Sure. I think you should do that. Now's a great time. Call Rachel and set that up.
Absolutely.
How about this, Phil? Can we do this again?
Absolutely.
I think we have a lot more to talk about, so we're going to do that on our next show. This has been Lowcountry Money Talk.